Welcome to Notebook Nuggets.
Hey there.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into James Altucher's The Choose Yourself Guide to Wealth. We've looked at some really good summaries to kind of distill the core ideas for you.
Yeah, the goal is really to give you a shortcut sort of to Altucher's main thinking on, building your own path to wealth and fulfillment in today's world.
Exactly. Hoping to spark some of those aha moments, leave you feeling a bit more empowered.
Absolutely. And right off the bat, one of the biggest ideas is this concept of the choose yourself era.
Okay, tell me more about that. What does he mean by choose yourself?
Well, essentially, the old gatekeepers, publishers, studios, even traditional employers, they just don't hold all the cards anymore. Their power is diminished.
Right, because of the internet, social media, all these platforms.
Precisely. Individuals now have this incredible ability to, create their own stuff, market it themselves, find success independently. You don't have to wait to be picked anymore.
You choose yourself instead.
That's the core message. And importantly, Altucher stresses this isn't really about having some magical innate talent. It's much more about adopting new ways of thinking, new strategies.
Okay, so it's a mindset shift primarily. And a big part of that shift, he argues, is becoming an idea machine. That sounds intense.
It does. But it's foundational to his whole philosophy. The idea is the path to choosing yourself is paved with ideas. Lots of them.
Why so many? Is it just a numbers game?
Partly. Yeah, the more ideas you generate, the higher the odds you'll hit on some really good, maybe even profitable ones. But maybe even more crucial is the confidence it builds.
The process itself builds confidence to act.
Exactly. You start trusting your own ability to come up with solutions, with possibilities. He calls it training your idea muscle.
Okay, like going to the gym, but for your brain. So how do you train it? What's the workout?
He has a very practical technique. Carry a writer's pad like a simple waiter's pad, he suggests.
Okay, not a phone, not a laptop, a physical pad.
Yep, something tactile. And the goal is, every single day, write down 10 ideas before noon.
10 ideas every day.
Wow. Do they have to be amazing ideas, like world-changing business plans?
Not at all, especially at first. The main thing is just doing it. Consistency. It gets the engine running.
So what kind of ideas then?
Anything, really. Ways to improve something simple, like your frying pan. Ideas to make a service better. Even just listing ideas for other people's businesses. The quality isn't the initial focus.
It's the repetition, the habit.
Right. And the number 10 is specific.
Why 10? Why not 5 or 20?
Because the first few usually come pretty easily, right? But pushing for those last few, number 8, 9, 10, that's where you really have to stretch.
Like the last reps in a weightlifting set. That's where the growth happens.
That's the analogy he uses. It forces your brain past the obvious into more creative territory.
I like that. Okay, so generate lots of ideas. He also talks about idea sex. That's quite a phrase. Huh. It is memorable, isn't it? It basically means combining two existing ideas to create something new and unique where they intersect.
So like taking peanut butter and chocolate.
Kind of. Yeah. Or taking an old idea and applying new tech to it, or a different business model. It's creative combination.
Innovation through synthesis, not just invention.
Exactly. And he also says, don't hoard your ideas. Share them.
Share them, even the potentially good ones.
Yeah. He talks about sending article ideas to financial writers and how that opened doors for him, even though they didn't use those specific ideas. The act of generosity itself created value.
Interesting. So giving away ideas can actually benefit you. And don't worry about bad ideas.
Definitely not. Bad ideas are just stepping stones. You need a lot of them to get to the good ones. Volume increases your chances.
Okay, so we're generating ideas like crazy, but ideas are just thoughts. How do we actually do anything with them? He brings up the daily practice and 4 bodies.
Right. Because to bring ideas to life, you need energy, you need influence. And he says you cultivate these through a daily practice of improving 4 key areas or bodies by just 1% each day.
1%. That sounds manageable. What are the 4 bodies?
Mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical.
Okay, let's break those down. Mental body. Is that just the idea generation?
That's a huge part of it, yeah. The daily 10 ideas exercise strengthens that mental muscle. Consistent creative output.
Makes sense. What about the emotional body? How do you strengthen that?
That's about your environment and relationships, surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people, limiting exposure to negativity, to draining people.
So curating your social circle.
Absolutely. Checking in with loved ones. And importantly, learning to say no to things or people that deplete your energy.
Saying no. But that comes up again. We'll probably circle back to that. Okay, spiritual body. Is this religious?
Not necessarily. For Altucher, it's more about presence and gratitude. Being in the moment, appreciating what's here now, instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Mindfulness, basically.
Yeah, like noticing the architecture on your walk, he suggests. Just being present. practicing gratitude.
Got it. And the physical body, that seems pretty straightforward.
It is. Exercise, healthy eating, sleep. Prioritizing sleep is key. Even small things, like going to bed 5 minutes earlier or reading instead of scrolling, that counts towards your 1% improvement.
So it's these small daily 1% improvements across all 4 areas. What's the big picture effect?
Compounding. That's the magic word. That 1% daily improvement seems tiny, but over a year, Altucher calculates it compounds to make you something like 37 times better.
37 times. Wow. It's huge.
It builds resilience, energy, optimism, makes you sort of infectious in a good way. People are drawn to that energy.
What you need to bring those ideas to life. Okay, so the book title mentions wealth. How does this framework define wealth? Is it just money?
No, definitely not just money.
Mhm.
He sees true wealth as this convergence of art, science, business, and spirit, both externally in what you achieve and internally in how you feel.
That's a much richer definition, more holistic.
Totally. It's about fulfillment, not just accumulation.
He also talks about the skills needed for an honest entrepreneur. What are those key skills?
He boils it down to a few core things.
Hmm.
Being okay with failure, actually seeing it as learning, the ability to generate ideas, obviously.
The idea machine again?
Yep. Then being able to sell those ideas, to execute them, and crucially, persistence, just sticking with it.
And that ties into failure, right? Persistence means failing and learning, not quitting.
Exactly. Failure isn't the end. It's part of the process.
Okay. What about fear? Specifically, the fear of rejection. That stops so many people.
Huge obstacle. His advice is pretty direct. Consciously focus your energy on things and people you actually enjoy. Spend time with those who uplift you.
Don't waste energy on negativity or potential rejection scenarios.
Pretty much. Choose where you put your focus, which leads back to the power of no.
Right. You mentioned saying no helps the emotional body. How else is it powerful?
Well, saying yes to everything. It breeds resentment. Your work quality suffers. You have less energy for important stuff. And ironically, you often end up making less money.
How does saying no help make more money? That seems counterintuitive.
It's about scarcity and value. If you're always available for anything, your time isn't perceived as valuable. By saying no strategically, you reduce your availability.
Which can increase demand.
Exactly. It frees you up to focus on higher value projects you're passionate about with people you respect. It signals your worth.
Okay, that makes sense. Protect your energy, increase your value. He also has a simple sales philosophy. Underprice and overdeliver.
Yeah, that's the first part. Give way more value than what you're charging.
Like a really generous offer.
Essentially. He gives an example of building a website for New Line Cinema way cheaper than expected, but delivering amazing results. It built his reputation like crazy.
Creates goodwill. Makes people want to work with you again.
Totally. It feels like a gift. Then the second part kicks in once you're in demand.
Say no to most people.
Learn to decline projects or clients that aren't the right fit. Focus your over-delivering where it matters most.
Got it. Now, this next bit sounds really interesting. Thinking like Eminem and the 6 use of persuasion. What's that about?
Okay, this is pretty cool. He analyzes Eminem's final rap battle in the movie 8 Mile as like a masterclass in persuasion.
Seriously, Eminem's rap battle.
Yeah, and he pulls out these 6 us you should think about whenever you're trying to communicate or persuade someone.
Okay, I need to hear these 6 us.
All right. Urgency, why now? Unique, what's different? Useful, what's in it for them? Ultra-specific, give details. User-friendly, make it easy to say yes, like offer a guarantee. And unquestionable proof. Use data, testimonials, build trust.
Wow. Urgency, unique, useful, ultra-specific, user-friendly, unquestionable proof. That's actually a really solid checklist for any pitch or proposal.
Totally applicable.
Oh.
And he goes further, analyzing the psychological biases Eminem used in that battle.
Oh, really? Like what?
Things like in-group, out-group bias, identifying with the local crowd, getting the audience involved, like put your hands up. That's social proof, or her behavior, he calls it. Repeating phrases, availability cascade.
This is fascinating. Using psychological triggers.
Yeah, referencing famous people he knew, credential bias, even listing all his own potential weaknesses first before his opponent could.
Taking the power away from the criticism. That's smart.
Super smart. Using humor, creating scarcity by saying he didn't even need to win. It's a brilliant breakdown of practical persuasion.
Definitely makes you think about communication differently. Okay, he also has some unorthodox tips. What are those like?
Yeah, some are a bit quirky, like carrying $2 bills because they're unusual and start conversations.
Okay, I can see that. Memorable.
Maybe wearing a doctor's coat for comfort and how people react. That was maybe a bit out there for most.
Yeah.
Using the waiter pads instead of screens for ideas. We talked about that. And watching stand-up comedy.
Watching comedy. Why?
To improve public speaking, timing, delivery, and just to boost your energy. Laugh more.
Interesting. Little hacks for mindset and interaction. He also stresses continuous learning and adaptation, right? Which seems crucial today.
Absolutely essential. Always be asking, how can I improve this? Who else should I talk to? Where else can I look for answers or ideas?
Constant curiosity.
And read widely. He suggests like 2 hours a day, diverse topics. Keep generating those ideas and accept you can't control everything. Focus on solving your problems, other people's problems.
That seems like a sustainable approach. Less about forcing outcomes, more about finding solutions. What about gratitude? He circles back to that.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme. Instead of counting sheep if you can't sleep, count things you're grateful for, even challenges. Aim for 100?
100 things. That's a lot. It really forces a perspective shift.
Exactly. And ultimately, it comes down to focusing on your own happiness. Don't let other people's negativity or limitations define your path.
Choose yourself again. It keeps coming back to that.
It really does. Even his take on persistence is interesting. He calls it iterative failure.
Iterative failure. What does that mean?
It means persistence isn't just gritting your teeth until you succeed. It's about continuing to fail, learning each time, adjusting, until you sort of accidentally stop failing.
So failure is the engine of persistence, not the obstacle.
Precisely. It reframes the whole struggle. And underlying all of this, he emphasizes honesty.
Just be honest. Seems simple, but maybe not always easy.
He argues it's the best long-term strategy. Builds trust, builds lasting success.
Makes sense. And a couple final points, understanding customer value.
Yeah, think about the lifetime value, not just one transaction. Really understand who you're serving. People often buy from you, the person, as much as the product.
Right, the relationship matters. And connecting people.
Actively introduce people in your network who might benefit from knowing each other. Even if it doesn't directly help you right away, it builds a stronger, more valuable network for everyone, including you eventually.
Paying it forward, building community.
Exactly. And finally, just embrace your own unique path. Accept who you are, what you want, regardless of what society says or expects. Success doesn't have an age limit. Choose your own timeline.
Wow. Okay, so putting it all together, the Choose Yourself Guide to Wealth is, well, it's way more than just a finance book, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's really a blueprint for a whole way of living and working in the modern world. Taking control, being creative, investing in yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually.
And finding ways to deliver real value.
Yeah. Hopefully this deep dive has given everyone some solid nuggets to chew on, maybe sparked an idea or two about how to start exercising that idea muscle starting, well, maybe tomorrow morning.
Or even today. So maybe the question for listeners is, what part of this resonated most? What's one small step you could take, maybe even that 1%, to start choosing yourself a bit more fully?
That's the real starting point, isn't it? Your own journey, your own choices. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula.
Definitely not. It's a guide, a set of principles to adapt and apply in your own way. Lots to think about.